Hello, good evening, welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series here for Season 11, Round 4 here in Azerbaijan for what will hopefully be yet another exciting race on a street circuit. We have been to Singapore, we've been to Vietnam, and now here in Baku for the last of our current run anyway of street races. And qualifying here should always be quite exciting. The race should always be quite exciting. You know Baku by now. And it's been a long time since we've raced here on F1 2020. We'll go into all of that. And the last time we were here, the results for qualifying, the exact lap, the race result, all that, after we introduce Mr. Jack Ricketts.
Who's still doing...
Oh, come on.
...thing, but that's because I was distracted and doing other things first. So, hello everybody. How are you? It's Beat Jacko here. Do you want to know a small issue that we do have? Oh no, ignore me. I'm good. I've worked it out, Owen, don't worry.
Right.
Baku, JACKOCAR, let's go, yes. You had to take over because I'm preoccupied.
Yes, you sound preoccupied. We do only have 19 drivers, even though the qualifying order says 20. I'm sure we'll work out who's missing, but there is 19 here still, which is...
KK quali join.
Ah, okay. Right, so KK shall join us. Matt Lester has joined us. We see him quite rarely. He's always on the list, but he's never actually showing up. But here he is, ready to race, and only 20 points outside the playoff places, so a couple of races he's missed, it might not affect him too badly. We'll see how he scrubs up around the street circuit here at Baku, which is difficult for a number of reasons. One, the walls. Two, the high curbs, especially in corners like 5 and 6 here. But I actually think the most difficult part of this track, obviously castle section, difficult corners, but the most difficult part of the track for me is all the shadows, because this is very much a sort of sunset race here, and that's going to make things quite difficult sometimes to see. And you will find yourself just missing your braking points or not quite seeing the apexes at various points, especially when you're fighting other cars. And you will also notice in that castle section, the turn 8 curb is a proper curb, it's not a painted wee thing. Same here at turn 15, which is corners where in recent years they've been sort of flattened out a little bit so the cars don't crash. But here it's very much Baku as it was before it went a bit more safe. As we follow Matt Lester, we're right on board for a lap round the track. You've already seen most of it in pre-quali trim. He's still not turned ERS on. There's no real reason for that. You're not going to run out of your allocated 100%, so you might as well have ran that the whole way down the straight. It won't lose him too much as he heads into turn 1. Another raised curb, entry and exit, so be careful with those. You should be able to ride the inside of turn 1, but we'll see how people manage it. Turn 2, he sort of moved inside there to the left, didn't he? As he hit the brakes, and that would have disrupted his turn, because once again, high curb at turn 2. Very easy to lose the car. Turn 3, this is the exit of the first DRS zone on the track. There are 2, the second one on the main straight, running down towards turn 1. Tad bit late on the brakes into 4, but there's no big dramas here. 5 and 6, you want to hook the inside as much as you can in 5 so you can open up turn 6, because it is yet another high curb, which you can go really nowhere near without messing your lap up, although I'm sure people will try. Turn 7, bit late on the brakes, hits the curve, spits him wide. Castle section, he already nearly put it in the wall here, didn't he, on his out lap, and just has to take 2 or 3 attempts to get into turn 9 as well, not to hit the curve, or not hit the wall there I should say. Through the full-on acceleration zone, through 13, 14, and then down towards 15. Again, you see a lot of cars in here in real life, but the drivers here tend to be better at controlling it. And the last braking zone at turn 16 leads us on to a flat-out section, well over a kilometre this. And there are actually 3 corners in here. There's 1, there's 2, and the final one, turn 20, to complete the lap. His deployment, like I say, is well over 60%, so he could have ran ERS all the way down here. Florian's put it in the wall. And Lesty, first time on the board, 141.2. Didn't run out of deployment on the green bar, though, which is important, so no one's going to have to manage ERS during this qualifying session, especially Florian, Jacko.
Yes, you would have heard my oh no. Oh no, anyway, this is Leroy, but we'll quickly touch upon. This is his full time replacing the departing Casper Klein, if you didn't see the tweet earlier. So yeah, full time for Florian. Of course, he raced last week, he got 3 points. Those points count towards the open season. As it stands, though, Casper would actually still be offered a place in the chase if it were cut off night. Such as the way JACKOCAR are these days. But yeah, Florian makes it 5 Germans on the grid. This is one of 2 Dutch drivers, though. Leroy Haslager not having a great start to the season. You will know him for multiple race wins in the Cup Series and the Kia Series. Of course, Kia Series champ of Season 5. Oh, very loose out of there. But Leroy just looking to get his season all together and loose once again and almost into the tyre barrier. Keeps it going. Valid, something that Florian could do, and this will unleash him onto this super long straight here in Baku, and we'll just sit with him all the way to the line. DRS wide open. After this we'll move to Dustin Roll, but where does Leroy go? He puts himself P1 for now, so far clear of Matt Lester, who's still warming the tyres up by the looks of it.
Yes, and we should point out, as we do every week, that the pole time last time we were here on F1 2020, which was in Season 2, it was, surprise, surprise, Kyle Smith who was on pole. It was very much his game. Unbelievable he didn't win a championship, honestly.
And he didn't win a title. It just every week.
But the time to reach for, which he set, was 1 minute 38.764. He was on pole by less than a tenth ahead of Arnaud, so no pressure on Arnaud here, but we're expecting a quick lap, and we'll see how he gets on as we see Dustin down the main straight, DRS open. He's going to be nowhere near that time. He won't be into P1 here either. He's about a second behind Leroy Haslager, so we'll move on to Robin.
The third German already, Robin, tonight. They're a quiet bunch, aren't they, in chat and on the track this week, unless you're referring to Johannes Mellers, last week's race winner. But yeah, they certainly are quiet. Let's hope that they start to put some form together, because they are a talented bunch. We've seen it in the Kia Series. Obviously, it is a step up coming to the Cup Series, but by no means an awful group of drivers. Mike Ketterborn will be for a team speed he turns in on people, but we love to see that. That's just part of JACKOCAR these days. Here is Robin Border then at the line. Is he anywhere near it? He is the nearest, but still nowhere near it. We will move to the man that everybody is watching this season. It's Peter Knight, Season 1 champion, and in Season 1, not on this game, it was F1 2019, but he won this race on track. Lost a penalty on that day, to a certain Mike Kelterborn, who we've just mentioned. But Pete Knighton, the form man when it comes to qualifying, back to his very best, question mark. Where does he go here in Baku in qualifying? Straight to the top. It doesn't beat cast, but it's certainly a new mark that the likes of Barry Baldwin, who is next, and the rest will be looking to beat. Back to you, Mr. Owen Wyatt.
It's got to be said, Jack, you are breaking up way more than anyone can decipher what you're saying. I'm slightly worried, but yeah, I'm not getting any of that. But as Baza comes down to start the last sector, it is worth pointing out, I don't know if you mentioned it, but that was half a second quicker than Kyle's last pole position time here. So the drivers are certainly turning it up a little bit as Baza comes around the last few corners. That looked into the wall, didn't it? And not exactly the ideal line. Might have scrubbed a couple of mile an hour doing that, but it doesn't matter. He's kept the car together, and he's going to come across the line a bit slower, but it might well be still top 5, and it is. P4 for Baza, 2 seconds off the time set by Pete Knighton, which it should hold that for a while. And okay, look at that. He's lost his front wing. There's a surprise.
Owen, I'm back. Am I still breaking up?
I could understand that sense. This is a good start.
At the start? Okay, what about the rest of it?
Yeah, still hear you. Maybe we're sorted.
Okay. or
Oh, maybe not.
you hear it in the background. Oh, you can't hear me, can you?
Yeah, is it? Maybe it's an internet problem. I don't know.
Okay, let me try something else. BLB, you keep talking.
Yes, we'll follow Ben Harrett since we've got Michael Okeke running around with no front end on his wagon. As Robin leaves the session, that's not handy, but at least we got to see his qualifying lap this week. We weren't able to last time in Vietnam, were we? Because he found the wall before we could get to him. So that's what Florian had to deal with this week. So it's always someone we end up missing. But anyway, we'll see how Ben Harrett gets on as Robin thankfully rejoins. Keeps us at 20 drivers. Happy days. For the middle sector, Ben doesn't look too bad. I always worry when they hit that curve on the exit of 16. As a Raikkonen fan myself, you'll all know what happened on that curve in 2018, and I think it's one of those things you never be able to forget, really. But a few drivers have nearly done it today as well, losing the rear end. Giotto found the wall there in 2018 doing the same thing, so that's also worth looking out for today. As Ben Harrett crosses the line, a second off Pete Knighton, who's seen enough. He's going to go into the spectators' booth and see if his time will be challenged by anyone. First to try, or next to try, has lost his front wing on both sides, so that's not good for Risky.
Mr. Wyatt.
Yes.
Can you hear me? I am back.
Yes, you are.
I've listened to the stream, and I'm not that bad, so I think it might be you.
That could be concerning if it's a me problem, because I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, stream, you're clear as anything, and then there's me, who's clear with a slight crackle, but certainly not end of the world. I can hear you fine now. But, there's no issue with anything that I heard. Certainly what I reviewed under JACKOCAR. First time JACKOCAR.
This is a quick lap, by the way.
Yep, we will move to Ben Shaw. Wyatt's already there. The Season 8 champion, though. Where can he put that car? Can he challenge the likes of Peter Knighton? Very busy on the other side of the grid there. I don't know if you saw that.
I did indeed.
4 cars altogether. I wonder what they're up to. But DRS for Ben Shaw, down to the line. He goes P1. Pete Knighton still awaits that elusive pole. He's waiting just as long as he has been for a win, I believe. But yeah, Ben Shaw, new benchmark, but only a 10th clear, so certainly pace in the Knighton car. But we'll move on to another German. It is Mike Keltorn. Here he is, Owen.
Yes, on the track where he got his first win, and what is Okeke still doing even out on the track, let alone getting penalties? He lost his front wing ages ago. He did qualify 9th with his time, but a 5-place penalty could demote him further if people have issues. And the worst thing is, I think it's Ben Harrett he's blocking, who's already finished his lap, which is a bit of an insult. But here comes Mike, crossing the line to go P6. Yeah, it is Ben Harrett. That's a bit suspect, because he's gone and got Okeke penalty by just simply following him, perhaps. But anyway, we'll pretend we didn't see that as we move on to Gareth Hall.
Yep, who's just coming across Okeke now, and he'll soon catch up to Ben Harrett if he hasn't got his foot down. But the lime green machine for Gareth Hall, rapid round there, almost clips the back of Ben Harrett, but it's looking good, certainly in this sector at the very least. The notoriously bad qualifier, Mr. Hall, all the way from Crawley in England. Can he drag this car anywhere near the front? No, he can't. It's P7 for Super Gareth. We'll move, though.
Risky's been in the wall big time, by the way. He's got a double puncture, front right
he has.
And rear right. If Jamie Wright gets anywhere near him, which he might, that could be a problem, because when you've got a double puncture like that, it's near impossible to control your car. So we will keep an eye on it, but we'll watch Jamie Wright
as well
as he heads through the middle sector. And, we weren't expecting to see Jamie Wright this early in the qualifying order, but his season so far, the first 3 races have been a bit of a disaster, haven't they? He really needs to get his season underway. Let's see if he can start that tonight. We're looking to be in the 1 minute 13s in the middle sector if you want to be on the pace. He's not quite there, but he's not a million miles away either. So this could be good, but let's ride on board, because you're about to see a double punctured car on the right hand side. He nearly hits the wall himself on the right hand side, but he has been able to avoid Risky, and that should be the danger averted really for everyone else, because he's onto the straight bit now. But here comes Jimmy Wright followed by getting a cheeky slipstream. He's not going to get it. He's going to get to the line, no, and goes P2. That's more like it. I think he'll be happy enough with that.
Good decision from Benshaw not to give him a slipstream, otherwise that would have been the pole gone. So protected himself there, did Benshaw. Here is Jets Games, of course, famous for that magic night in Baku where she destroyed Yuri's Wraith, and your commentary that followed in soon after. Of course, she has improved a long way ever since then. Where does she go?
Yeah,
P12, welcome back to Cup Series.
Who said that?
Next up is Yuri. Yuri Haselager is next. He's through the castle section now. Owen Wyatt.
Yuri, who's he's had a decent start to the season himself, and he was obviously the effort driver involved in the famous incident. What's happened about here on the track, and to be fair,
in this car as well.
It's one of my lower moments, to be honest, in my commentary career. It's not going to hit any show reels for excellence, is it? But oh well, what can you do? My voice can't even go that high anymore, you know. It was a different time. But here comes Yuri, who's looking to rekindle days of old in the Kia series. Yes, we're racing on a Tuesday once again. We hadn't mentioned that bit yet. Our second Tuesday race of the season. That's where this man used to, well, make his trade, really, because he's a bit hopeless in the Cup series. But let's see if he can change that as he crosses the line to go. Only 11th, yeah, you can see my point. Did he hit the brakes, though? He hit the brakes quite hard, so maybe a bit of sandbagging to go P11. That, I'm telling you, that'll be on purpose for the free tyre choice. Now, we've got Arnaud, he's giving Jake a fantastic tow to start his lap. He might regret that as he completes his own lap here. And he's going to go near the top, we expect it. He's gone P4, it's not too bad, but he's giving Jake such a good start to his lap then.
He did jink cross to the right though. I don't think he entirely knew where Jake was, who is now going through turn 2, but instead we must turn attention to Johannes, the most recent winner in JACKOCAR. And where can he go? Already the one pole this season.
He's nowhere.
The final of 5 Germans. Is he nowhere?
He is nowhere.
Oh, he's nowhere. Yeah. Must have been an error. All the wing on that car though, so he hasn't put it in the wall. Do we stay with him or do we move to Jake O'Sullivan, who
we'll see if he
has a huge advantage?
We'll see if he goes 5th, because he should go 5th at the time he's on the moment, and he does. So it's not too bad. But yeah, let's see how Jake's getting on.
It is narrow through there, isn't it?
It's very difficult,
really
isn't
narrow.
It? Sadly, I didn't get to see a sector
mentioned...
one time, but yeah.
Have we mentioned? I mean, it's been quite popular in the chat this week that on this game it was narrower back in the day around original Baku, before they widened the castle section.
It was indeed. I was saying it when we went around on the first lap of the qualifying with Matt Lester. There are nooks and crannies here which aren't as bad as like the very, very original in 2016, because like the curb into turn 8 was literally like, if you hit that you're going flying, which is not really ideal. So it's not as bad, but it might catch people up. Yeah, he's only gone P5. He might be disappointed with that. Corey Dalton though, what are we expecting from him? Because this feels like a track a lot of people are quick at. Even I'm quick on this track. So I wonder how Corey's going to get on as he heads through. He is the man at the moment. 8 points clear in the championship. He has a win. And even after smashing into the wall and ruining his car in the penultimate lap last week in Vietnam, he still came through on the podium ahead of, or just behind Kieran. With a lot of work, it has to be said, from Kieran to put him in the wall. Kieran is not here this week, so we can say whatever we want about that incident. But the point is, Corey's driving with confidence. Even when it goes wrong, it doesn't go that wrong. And so let's see where his time is. He's got a big chance here, with Johannes not being on the pace, to make a bit of an advantage, but he's not as quick as Johannes. And so, and I'm telling you, he won't have expected this coming in. I don't care what he says. Ben Shaw did not expect to be on pole position here, but he is, ahead of Jamie Wright, Pete Knighton. There's a top 3 of JACKOCAR-ness. Championships galore. And yeah, Ben shot on pole position. Didn't expect that. Jake and P5 as well with his 3 titles. Arnaud very much the outsider in there, but we know he's quick. And that is the end of qualifying. It's an order you wouldn't have expected, but at the same time, when you look at the accolades that those guys have, I mean, all our champions are pretty much up there. So, apart from Khalifa, obviously, who's not here, but you know, you get the point.
It's certainly not an order we're mad with. I mean, I was getting ready to tell you all the stats about Corey, how he's the only driver in the top 3 in the top 5 in all races this season, and then Ben Shaw, out of nowhere, comes and bangs it on pole for the 22nd time in his career and the time this season. Fantastic stuff, Mr. Season 8, Mr. Las Vegas. But there's your order. I'll take this one. Ben Shaw, Jamie Wright, Pete Knighton, Arnaud de Grief, Jake O'Sullivan. The talent is unreal in the top 5, but it continues. Johannes, Corey, Ben Harrett in P8, Leroy, P9, a result he would dearly love to get from this race, and Robin there in P10, and the rest, Owen, they don't matter because they're outside the top 10.
Well, if you ask Mike Kelterboard now, he would disagree, because he is rightly saying that P11 is quite a good starting position. He won his first race here. I don't know from where on the grid that was, but there's no jokers today. So if you're starting P11 on the grid, you're in a decent position with that free tyre choice. You can do whatever you want. The stages are laps 8 and 18, and there's I think 26 laps for the race here. So, you know, you can start on mediums. They'll last decently long. He may well lead the race. He may get a lucky safety car. So yeah, look out for Mike, and maybe he'll be confident. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he'll remember how good he is at this track. And he's had, again, himself a decent start to this season, particularly in Singapore, where he finished in 2nd place. He's 8th in the championship so far. So, yeah, we'll keep our eye on him.
We sure will. As you said, previous race winner here. Whenever I've been lead commentator in the JACKOCAR era, I read the top 10 out and then I say the rest are always rubbish. So I was doing that for the culture. But maybe, as you say, Mike and those below may be able to do something this evening. And speaking of this evening, the stages. We'll come to that in a second. The stages come tonight at lap 8 and 18. There are no jokers. So it is a straightforward, I use that term loosely, straightforward race here in the Cup Series under the Baku midday sky. Owen Wyatt.
I'll tell you what, Gareth will be... Well, will he be fuming? He will be a bit fuming, I think, to see Mike taking his strat. But both of those two, 11th and 12th, starting on hard, that is playing the long game. That could work very well. We'll keep our eye on it. I mean, if he didn't put it in the wall in Vietnam near the end in the rain, then Gareth's strategy looked pretty decent. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on him, Mike. That's really interesting. I thought they'd be on mediums. Jess is on mediums, KK's on mediums. Risky and Florian, we'll give Florian some airtime. They're both on hards as well. And then Baza, Dustin, Yuri and Lesty are on softs. So, yeah, it's a bit mixed up there. That's really not what I was expecting. But if I'm honest with you, this front 4, this front 6, 7, oh, I can't wait. It feels a tad bit mixed up. It feels a tad bit mixed up, and I don't know if that's like offensive to say. I'm sure Ben will be like, "Oh, I'm definitely quicker than all of them," but there's no way he. This wasn't his game. He was good, but he wasn't this good. I don't feel.
You know what? I think Pete Knighton will be annoyed as well. Jamie's found his feet, and Ben Shaw's found his pace, and Pete's only P3. With Johannes struggling down there, down in P6, you know, Pete will feel this is a lost pole position 2 weeks in a row, 2 races in a row. And from one end of the grid to the other, Michael Okeke, his worst qualifying of the season. He's been 19th, 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 and 20th.
In fairness, I think he might have been 19th, but then he got a 5-place penalty, didn't he? The idiot for blocking.
That's very true, actually.
For blocking a man who was in 8th place anyway. How cruel is that? Or at least that's what it looked like.
Awful.
But anyway, we'll not get VAR on that one, as drivers come out of turn 16. And yes, like I said, that top 7,
This
Ben,
is gonna be saucy.
Jamie, Pete, who needs to get through this race. Do not put this thing in the wall, for goodness sake. Arnaud in P4, Jake, Johannes and Corey, they've been the 3 leading men. They are, I believe, the 3 race winners, aren't they, this season? And they're sat in 5th, 6th and 7th. Liner Stern, of course they're together. There's just no way this isn't a classic, you know, just waiting to happen. When we were last here, by the way, I didn't watch much of the race. It has to be, I was just sort of skinning through it to get the results, but I did notice that we did have a lap 24, or more like lap 25 restart out of a safety car. So we do get late drama here as well. So we have all the ingredients. That race did finish Kyle, Arnaud and Thomas. So that was our top 3 on that day. We're definitely going to get a different top 3 on this day because Kyle and Thomas are not here. And Arnaud, well, he sits in P4. He's got a bit of work to do to get himself up there, but we know we'll have the pace. This is a very exciting prospect as the drivers get themselves onto the grid. It is a short run down towards turn 1, as always, here in Baku. And remember the way the curbs are profiled. Moves here could be difficult, and into turn 2 as well, so a lot could happen here. We've got the lights on ahead of the drivers. It's round 4 of season 11 here in Baku, and boogity boogity boogity, let's go racing here on Tuesday night as we head down towards turn 1. It's a decent start from Arnaud. He can't find any way through, and Ben Shaw, he's just cleared off as we come out of turn 1. A bit of side-by-side action. Looks like Arnaud's trying to get through on Pete Knight and making a bit of contact with him, and into the wall goes Jake. And a lot of contacts happening as a result of that. Front wine's going everywhere, but it was Jake getting it wrong, and the VSC is out. Now, I saw Ben Harrett picking up some front wing damage in this. Leroy once again picks up damage in a race this season. It is every week, but for most of them, it feels like it's happening every week. But it did look like Jake, that was sort of his error, unless he got a push, which might have been a possibility. But he's put it in the wall hard enough to take half of the front wing off.
More of a lock-up or a point of view. But it's certainly put him back regardless. Corey not with a fantastic start. He is down there in P8. Well, P6 because the order's messing up. Pete Knighton has lost out.
He did lose.
But the front 2 are where they were.
Yes, and Ben made such a good start as well, so he'll be happy to have a little bit of respite there to consolidate that lead as they start to speed up. Looks like we're about to go green again. Hopefully no one goes in speeds, and they haven't. As we go green then, no DRS until lap 3, remember, so it's all well and good being this close at the moment, but you're going to stay this close as we get into the DRS point, and there's a lot of action happening now in the midfield thanks to the cars who have damage. They'll almost certainly try and stick it out until the end of lap 3 if they can. Unfortunately for Gareth Holloway, he's down in last place. Mike fighting away in 13th. He hasn't got any damage in his car. He's not had the best start, but those hards, they should come in as Jamie Wright down the main straight, moves outside, moves inside, moves into the lead of the race. That didn't take long at all, did it? But look at Ben Shaw coming back at him. What a switchback that was through turn 1, and surely he's going to show Jamie Wright the door because he's going to hit the herb. And they're both sort of crawling through. The DRS lighting up is wrong. Ignore that. It's a glitch. The game thinks it's lap 3. It's not. Jamie Wright is leading, and it's very much lap 2. Look at the move from Arnaud. He's back at it again after we saw it in Vietnam so many times. Arnaud is up to 2nd place and sending it straight back up the inside as Ben Shaw. I tell you what, he's given it some today as Ben. I think he knows slightly he's not meant to be this high up, but he's trying as hard as he can to hold on to it. And he's inviting Pete Knighton into the fight. And Corey Dalton's going to get involved as well. There's no gap surely to get through 2 in one go, is there? He'll certainly get Arnaud though, and Pete back up into the podium positions. But I tell you what, all this has let Jamie Wright pull away in the lead of the race. Hasn't had the best castle section though, missing apexes everywhere there. He won't have felt particularly comfortable, but it strains the field out that little bit to give Jamie some comfort. And we just see some pit stops. Jake, Ben Harrett and Gareth Hall, who's only just got back to the pits, which is a massive shame for him. He must have had a puncture or something there, so it will say he leads the race, but when he comes through a timing beam, that will sort itself out. But Jamie, his job now is to pull away. I think he'll think he's quicker than Ben Shaw. Whether he actually is or not, we will see. Pete was opportunistic enough there to get through on Arnaud. He'll feel like he was bullied a little bit there out of position. all just fell apart quite quickly, Jacko.
Sure did. How the scenes here? Jamie went 4 races back into his JACKOCAR return. A race win under his belt with 20 it would be as well. But yeah, very exciting start to this race. You just need that chasing pack to catch back up to Jamie. You've got 6 drivers there that all of them previous race winners, all of them can win this race, and 5 of them the minute together. Just trying to close that gap to Jamie, who has extended himself to 1.8 seconds. Let's see what we can do. Certainly excited about this game that has brought this style of racing back, and we love it. It is classic JACKOCAR.
It is indeed. It is just the fact that the cars are that bit more dynamic to drive. It's giving more opportunities to have fights, like we saw throughout lap 2. As we see Ben Shaw, that's a great camera angle, looking down at the cars going through the castle, because he's just so inhumanely fast through there. And clearly faster than everyone else, because he caught up to Jamie Wright and pulled outside a DRS threat of Pete Knighton. He might have to use some ERS to get back inside. He's also running light on fuel. He's really trying everything he can here, Pete, to keep in touch. You feel like that is possibly not sustainable, but we'll follow it anyway and see how, because he's going to have to save fuel at some point here, which of course you can do. You've got the fuel modes, rich, medium and lean, as always, but will we see any pit stops? It is the end of lap 3. I'd be surprised if we see any. It's a tad early, but someone might fancy it. Looks like that person's Arnold, who's going to come into the pits. There was a yellow flag briefly for a yellow car of Lesty, this must be. Has he picked up a puncture? Yes, he has. Might be off his own front wing, as we've seen so many times already this season. And sadly, that's not going to bring any safety cars out for him. He's just going to fall down the field. I suspect the same thing had happened to Gareth Hall, which is why he is so far back from the rest of the field. But P. Knighton, he's just got past Ben Shaw. So, again, he's got, what, 2 laps less fuel than him, but he's... and run out of ERS as well. So it's clearly, as Ben gets it a bit wrong now out of the exit of 4, and this would be a really difficult one to take if he gets passed here by Corey, and he does. But Pete, he'll be a bit disheartened to see that as well. He's put a lot of work into getting into 2nd place, and the guy's overtaken. He felt he was faster now, and he's just been passed again. But yeah, I feel this is slightly unsustainable for Pete. Maybe he should be into the pits this lap, try and save a bit of fuel, try and save the ERS back up, because he'll be a bit of a sitting duck the next time cars come to fight him, and they're not catching Jimmy Wright either, so chance for an undercut, although they may all end up deciding to cover Arnaud, who is currently down in P14. He's got a full complement at the front wing. I don't think he'd lost any before, as we've seen in previous weeks, so this should be a successful attempted undercut, assuming you know who doesn't block her or block him in the section she's famous for. which she might, but he will get some DRS off one of these 2 cars, surely.
The question is, do these guys, if they cover off Arnold, do they want the fight down there in the midfield by the likes of Jess and Dustin and KK? Let's see this time around. Jamie Wright stays out. Pete Knighton edges towards the pits, and he does pit, which promotes Corey up to P2. Jamie Wright leads us on to lap 5.
Jamie's
anyone
pitted.
else join him? Yes, they sure did. Oh, Jamie did pit. My apologies.
On to
Ben
mediums.
Shaw as well.
Oh, and he's having to stack his Ben Shaw. Oh, that's a disaster. Oh, but we have got Florian in the wall big time, and there's a safety car deployed. And where's Arnoud? I mean, he might be able to get something out of this. Let's see. Pete is currently a long way behind. Has he had to change the front wing or something? But doesn't matter too much. He's beating Arnoud out of the pits, but Jamie Wright is just so far ahead. So maybe Pete did have some sort of issue, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to close in with deltas and stuff like that. Arnoud had got ahead of Jess by the time the safety car had come out. But yeah, that's Florian possibly hitting the inside wall at 19, and it bounces him out into the wall, or just understeering into the outside wall. But either way, the first retirement of this race, the first retirement we've seen since Singapore, as we should remind you, all the cars got to the end of the race in Vietnam, unbelievably, last time out. Just thought we'd mention that one again, because it's a very proud stat of ours, that.
So I'm just watching the pitters here. So Lesty joins Ben Harrett and Jake under safety car stops. Dustin Rolko under review. It might have been green flag. It might be safety car. We'll have to get that one checked in a second. But Gareth stays out. But it's the safety car he needed to get back up with the rest of the field.
Yeah, Lesty as well, getting what he needed. Should point out that Risky is behind Jamie Wright. That is crucial because Risky is obviously trying to play the long game here on the hard, yet to make his first pit stop. And not going to be making it for a while. He's the highest runner on hards who's yet to pit. The only one actually on hards. Oh, Jamie's in the wall! Jamie's in the wall! Under safety car, big time. Both sides of the front wing pulverised. And do you know who that puts in the net race lead? It should be Corey. Assuming the pit stop goes to plan. This is a safety car pit stop though, so there's all the caveats that come with that. But that will be an easy race lead now for Corey that he wasn't expecting, surely. Baz as well might be able to gain some out of this as he comes into the pits. Pete, will he be ahead or behind Johannes? He's behind Johannes. And Arnaud will slot back into that net P4 that he was in at the start of the race. Oh, Jamie. That's just all on his own. Under safety car. What are you doing?
For me, Owen, I am awfully distracted at the minute.
You're lucky I'm paying attention then, aren't you?
I've got 3 JACKOCARs under review as we currently try and catch up with this race because it sounds like I've missed quite a lot.
Yeah, we were riding on board with Risky as well when Jamie he hits the inside wall of 19. It's what I suspected might have happened to Florian. Hits the inside of 19, throws him into the outside. Lucky he's still on the race. P9, not the end of the world. Net P8 after Risky presumably pits out of the way. I mean, Jamie had made a pit stop on him already by the time the safety car had come out, so Risky doesn't seem to have the pace that we saw from him earlier in the season in the likes of Bahrain. But still, this is going to hurt for Jamie sitting down here in P9, especially knowing as Risky's gone off into the wall. Well, that demotes him already. And he's broke the front wing under safety car. He's playing the long game and he's failed miserably at this. He's going to be a long way down, but that makes our scoring a little bit easier to manage because he'll fall to the back when he makes his pit stop, and that will have to be a safety car stop, which isn't the end of the world, but you wouldn't have wanted to make it under these conditions.
Okay. VAR check complete. Dustin did pit under safety car, not green flag. So I can tell you all the safety car stoppers will include Sullivan in this list. Sullivan, Gareth, Bazza, Johannes, Corey, Lesty, Ben Harrett, Jake and Dustin. Nearly half the grid. In fact, it is half the grid. With the exclusion of Florian now out of the race. Everybody else made a pit stop under green flag.
No, Risky is speeding up here to get into the pit lane. You can do this. You won't get any penalties for it, but that will keep him ahead of the likes of Gareth and Lesty because they're just too far behind anyway, the rest of the pack. This could even bring the safety car out and keep it out for an extra lap even, because Gareth and Lesty are a long way back actually. They have got their cars in working order, so it is just the fact that their punctures earlier on, which I assume happened to Gareth, we know what happened to Lesty, just put them so far back in the pack, and there's nothing you can do when you pick the punctures up, because you have to go slowly. The car just can't go faster than it, well, you know, about 30 seconds a lap slower. It's what it tends to be. It just can't go any faster than that, so it's unfortunate. But like I said, that could leave the safety car out one more lap. They may catch in time, and that would mean Corey would have to race for the stage point, which comes at the end of lap 8. And Johannes, he'll certainly fancy that. Pete is getting his fuel saving done under safety car, by the way. We mentioned it earlier on. Maybe he's underfueled. No way the safety car is going to come out. It's a relatively safe bet around here, I suppose. But it's always a risk. It's always a risk if it doesn't, though. So he'll be happy enough as Risky.
Oh, no.
He actually has crashed now, hasn't he? Completely. Ah, that's a bit of a poor one from him there. 2 accidents on the safety car for Sullivan Lewis, who's out. Second car out. But
it's a shame as well. This is off the back, Owen, of a P6 and a P8 so far this season, and one other DNF in Bahrain. He wasn't having a bad season, sat in 11th. Maybe Project Chase for Sullivan Lewis. Boy, just an awful driver.
Could be the latter, I'm afraid. That was when you make one mistake on the safety car, that's one thing, but a second one is particularly
not
bad.
Two mistake.
Yeah. Now, Lesty has caught the pack, but the lights are still on. They can go off here. We're still a long way from the pits, and indeed the lights have now gone off. And Corey, well, he's done this many times before. He's going to have to restart this race, and if I'm him, I'm expecting a big challenge from Johannes, from Pete, from Arnold, from anyone who can get anywhere near me, really. And Robin, by the way, got to point to him why that is a legit P5. Let's see how he can hold that, because I tell you what, having barely seen him at all last week, he's certainly going to put himself in the picture this week for some action. And 29 miles an hour, oh my god, I've jinxed. That's just, I'm so sorry. Robin's hit the back of Arnold, and they've got 5-second penalties. They're going to have to take them under the next pit stop. I bet they haven't even got damage. But anyway, here comes Corey. It's very F2-esque, this, isn't it? Back when they would cause pile-ups on safety car restarts because they would never go. And they're all hitting each other. And illegal overtakes are happening as well. All sorts is happening. But I tell you what, Corey, he's got the restart he wanted into turn 1. Playing it very slow. Paid off, and there's a few cars wide at turn 1. I can't believe no one hit the wall there. As down the inside goes Ben Shaw on Robin, who has damage after the contact with Arnold. Jimmy Wright and Leroy, you did mention it, Jacko, they've got penalties as well for contact. This could be sketchy into turn 3 for Ben Shaw. Down the inside he goes. Baz is following the two of them. Good racing this is, but it's going to cost him time. And Robin, sensibly, he pulls in behind Ben Shaw, who can get away. Jimmy
Wing
Wright.
damage for someone. I'm not sure if it's OKK or Yuri, somebody like that. It was an absolute mess behind the Ben Shaw fight.
Well,
I'm trying to work out who got it.
Oh, hold on. We got OKK in the wall hard. We could get a virtual safety car for this. There's a lot of debris around. Might have even been something. It might be his whole wing's gone, or at least a lot of it, because he's crawling around. Yeah, safety car. So much front wing was coming off in there. Half the field have damage. Lesty, Jake, he's down now with damage. Jess lost half her front wing. Oh no, sorry, Jake hasn't got damage actually. He escaped it. I was wondering if Yuri had picked up some damage. I did see blue flying about, and it was him. Yeah. He's going to hit the wall again. In fact, he has hit the wall again. This safety car is, I suppose, slightly bails the guys with penalties out. Are they fancy taking them? Robin in particular with his front wing damage was probably going to come in anyway. OKK, I don't know why he's so slow. He's not got a puncture or anything. He just has a broken front wing. That's not the end of the world. Arnold's well taking his penalty under the safety car. Jamie Wright too. Yuri isn't going to take his, so he's going to go for track position.
Guarantees Corey the playoff point for lap 8 as well.
Yes. I'm actually to be quite happy with how that restart went as well. So he may well go for that tactic again. Nothing he did wrong, by the way. It was just everyone else just going before they were told. It's, Corey controls the pace. He wasn't accelerating, braking. We questioned this sort of driving in Singapore. Are they going too slow? But no, you're allowed to do it. Just the rest got a bit too close to comfort. It is very similar to the way the F2 restart used to go here in Baku, or even GP2 back in the day. Their first sprint race here, I think it was, where we saw a multi-car pile-up on the main straight. 2019 happened as well, where they were all just so slow on the main straight, and someone near the back wanted to go for it, and they all hit each other. Mugello and F1 in 2020. Shame it's not on this game, but the same thing happened there as well. So, yeah, it's just when the front car doesn't go and the rest decide, well, I'm going anyway. it's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah. Jamie Wright, by the way, down in P15. What a great shame for him. Obviously still time to recover 1/3 the way through this race. But on a day where we knew he had pace, it's just not gone his way. Not really through much fault of his own, other than the crash into the wall, which I missed, but Owen, certainly you got it. That maybe today is not the day, but this season, 100%.
Well, you'd hope so. There's no more other seasons for it to happen in, and I think he knows it. Maybe there's a bit of pressure on him because of that. Because he's making mistakes I've never seen him make before. Well, that's not strictly true, but it's not what I'd expect.
He's knocking the rust off.
Maybe, yeah. We have only been back less than 2 weeks, haven't we, realistically? I know we're on round 4, but they're coming thick and fast, so I suppose it takes time.
Jamie Wright, we talk about winless streaks. By the way, Pete Knighton at 165. We never mentioned that. But Jamie Wright hasn't won a race for 70 attempts. Obviously, those attempts include the races he wasn't here, but the Cup Series has had 70 races. It's his last win. That's a long old time.
It's a very long time.
Year. Yeah.
So KK is into the pits. Don't know what it's for. Couldn't be another front wing change, could it? He's actually going through more front wings this season than he did last season. The pit record, which he broke last week, is not actually for a front wing. It's actually tactical. There you go, for some tyres. But yes, Corey did break the pit stop record last week that was held for, 9-10 seasons by Pete Knighton. Of 10, well, it was 9 was the record, and OKK, he pitted 10 times in Vietnam last week.
Sure did. And then he told me this week he doesn't like Baku, so that's what's sitting him on 3 stops after 10 laps.
Of course, we also should mention the win record, as in the biggest margin of victory, went last week for Johannes, who won by 34.2 seconds, something like that, ahead of Kieran, who was fighting very, very hard with Corey across the line for P2. That's not why they were 30 seconds behind. It was because Corey crashed in the penultimate lap. But I had to pit. It was one of those races where the field was actually extremely spread out because of the rain that was pouring down towards the end, and it seemed like Johannes was the only guy out there who didn't crumble under the pressure of it. So, very exciting last week. I know it spoiled them, but they were very exciting last few laps last week. But it's what led Johannes to the record victory, and that's a gap which may never be beaten. I sort of don't want it to be beaten when it's that big a gap, because it means that someone's clearly just cleared off into the distance, haven't they?
It took us 9 seasons to beat it in the first place, so yeah, it'll take another 9, and we don't have 9. That's me using logic there. Anyway, restart on the way. Lap 10, coming up to halfway through this race. It's gone quite quickly, I think. Corey leads the way. Johannes, Pete, Ben Short, Bazza, genuine top 5. They are the top 5.
I wasn't going to mention it, but I said the same thing for Robin, and he'd gone and put it into the back of Arnold before they'd even gone. So no one heard what Jacko said about that bloke in 5th place. But
I crackled.
Maybe more important, actually, the bloke in 7th place, slowly getting his way up, who has won here before, slowly creeping himself into it. But Corey, he has been going this slow since the exit of 16, so this is going to come as no surprise to anyone this time. Sadly, we've got just the worst camera angle for this. I want to be off board for this. We'll watch from the rear of Corey's car, because Cody's are not playing ball with the camera angle here. And we'll watch the exact moment that Corey goes. Look at that, he did sort of feign going, and then he slowed down, then he went slightly playing towards the dark arts there. But anyway, down towards turn 1, he's held his position. They're crashing, aren't they? There's yellow flags, but it's hard to tell what's been going on. There was a car I saw going into the pits. Ben Harrett has broke his front wing, so that might have been going on down towards turn 1. Baz has had just the biggest slide out of turn 2, and now he's defending 5th place from Leroy Hasselager, who didn't take his penalty that he got on the last safety car restart, like everyone else did under the most recent safety car by pitting. So we'll see how that plays out for him. At the front, nothing's really changed. Corey,
Leroy in the wall!
Just as I cut off him, did he get hooked by someone, or did he just lose it on his own?
And he lost on traction. Yeah.
Well,
nobody's fault but his own.
That could be another safety car, especially now there's more contact between Robin and Jamie Wright, who's just had to put the brakes on and lose a few positions. Looks like we might not go safety car. It's staying green. It's going to go virtual safety car. and we just can't get back going, can we?
It does line us up nicely for the sprint finish, though. Pull
Well,
the cars together.
We're running out of safety car slots for that, aren't we? I mean, we've had what? We've had a virtual,
Yeah.
2 virtuals and 2 full safeties. We're only on lap 11.
Yep. One to go. This has happened before, though, and it ended up being one of the better races, I recall.
Well, it's leaving a lot of people.
Which one it was?
I forget it as well. To be fair, it's probably happened a few times in fairness. But what this does, it's given these drivers like a solid 7-8 laps now where they've just been doing no racing, which isn't always the easiest thing to deal with. As we start to speed up again. Must be about to go, but everyone's at full throttle, and maybe the deltas are being quite nice because that still very much says virtual safety car at the top of your screen. And yeah, they're slowing down again. So this is where people can get caught out. Looking for anyone going into turn 1, like Gareth, or Dustin, who's gone off actually, but no one's spared. Dustin's going to lose a few places. Arnaud, Jake going through, Yuri going through, and yes, I did say Gareth Hall in 7th place. Don't ask. I don't know how. Mike holding on to P6 on the back of Baza. He'll surely fancy that. Let's say the podium he got in Singapore, that'll give him just endless amounts of confidence, you would have thought. Even last week didn't go great, but he still finished 9th, I think, didn't he? Did Mike in Vietnam? So
I have 12th.
Oh, 12, okay. Well,
yeah, and a DNF in Bahrain, but he's been driving well, hasn't he? Like you've said, the results may not show that, other than the Singapore podium, but the driving has been good from Mike.
Yes.
As Baza loses it through castle section, I'm on board with Mike myself. He certainly looks more hooked up than Baza does, as Gareth brings a train of cars with him, including Arnold and Jake. What will happen here? Corey less than a second ahead of Johannes in P2.
I would have thought Arnold should have the best tyres out there at the moment, so we keep our eye on him. Here comes Pete Knighton, closing in, or at least he was on the back of Johannes, but Johannes, well, they're both actually using ERS, so that's going to leave Corey possibly being caught, but not in time for DRS, it doesn't look like. The detection points on the exit of turn 1, so Johannes would need to have a really good braking zone into turn 1. And
Baza and Mike absolutely going at it.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if Gareth was doing the same with Arna, but he's let him go through. In the inside of turn 1, MK Bourne, Mike Kelterborn has got through on Baza, and that's for P5, and he's done it at the right time because Arnaud is coming. He should be the fastest driver on track. He's got the best tyres out there, bar Robin, who's just put on a fresh set of softs, and we've got Ben Harrett in the pits as well, probably for the same. But looks like Johannes has been able to get himself into that 1 second gap for DRS. So let's see what they're like through the middle sector, because if these two can stay in touch, then we've got a decent DRS train for the lead. Jimmy Wright's only 13th. I do want to keep an eye on him just in case he can get himself back up, but it doesn't look like it's happening at the moment, it has to be said. It just doesn't seem to be his day, but Johannes, what a middle sector he's having. We've watched him through the castle section. He really sent it, and he's slightly fishtailing out of the castle section, but I tell you what, he's got the pace. He's got a little less DRS than Corey, but he'll crucially have the DRS, as at the moment will Pete Knight, and he's just about hanging on in there. If he can do that, he'll take Ben Shaw with him, but it's a bad one for the last braking point, and I think Pete Knighton might find himself falling behind.
Oh, Corey in the wall!
Oh, a lot of front wing damage as well. Similar, yeah, it's the same safety car. Similar to what we saw happen to what's his face? What is his face? Jimmy Wright. See what happened to him?
Yeah, but yeah.
Didn't see it, but I could see the damage. So as soon as that one, that could be our last safety car. And Corey, he's only on lap 14. The stage is at the end of lap 18, so this could be a real race damager for him. But again, lucky you're in the race still when that happens to you. Okay, he's in the pits again. Jimmy Wright as well.
I was just looking at the drivers who pitted or made their first stop and lost the safety car stop. Corey was one of those, but of course the second mandatory stops start from lap 19 onwards. So that's irrelevant. So he can pit now, does Corey? and it doesn't affect him. He'll come out P12 by the looks of it. Not spectacular for him. And all of these guys are throwing the race away. But the man who hasn't, Johannes and Pete, those top two actually,
Do you know,
very, very good all day long.
I've got goosebumps, you know, seeing Pete Knight in Saturn P2. He's not hit the wall yet. He's not hit the wall yet. He was within DRS until Johannes had to send it. He had to send it to catch up to Corey. Ben Shaw's still up there. We love to see that on a game he wasn't the best at. I think he'd admit it himself. Mike and Bazza have stayed where we wanted them to stay. And Arnard up there as well with Gareth, Jake, Yuri and Dustin Lesty. How the hell did he get there? Is the same question we're asking about Gareth. The grid is very much still a bit mixed up. This could be the last safety car. It'll be a mad dash, you would have thought, to the pit lane on the end of lap 19, or maybe, thanks to the safety car, some people might have been able to sort of extend their tyre life a tad bit, and that will give them a chance to pit for some really fresh softs, maybe 1 or 2 laps later. There's options here, and I have a really good feeling about the end of this race, because it's so hard to stay in the lead of this thing, because the walls are so easy to hit. The cars are harder to drive. That's why we see the chaos here. Every time we come here on these old F1 games, we would have seen total carnage, and today's been no different. Johannes has broke his front wing, I think. I'm just trying to get a good camera angle of it, but we've gone on board again, and I hate the onboard angle. Just give me an option to not be on board, because I just got a glimpse of his front right end plate, but we can't not see on board. Get off board! No, it was just a shadow. Right. It was I saw for a split second that we went off board. I was about to say, there's no way he could have got front wing damage. That's why I wanted to stick with it. I do apologise. It's a black end plate on a shadow. But, yeah. Bad timing with my camera angle usage.
We're starting to believe, aren't we? The Pete Knight and hype train has arrived.
I also...
Yeah. Well, we've been doing this some time now.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I wonder if Jack Gooding still watches.
Jack Gooding what, sorry?
I wonder if he still watches. Wonder what he'd think of what he's made. Well, I say what he made. Well, I've been commentating on leagues that start with him for what? Jeez. This is like... I counted this the other week. I think this is like something like 15th season, 16th season. Like, altogether.
With this crop of drivers?
With this crop of drivers. I think. Yeah. In some way, shape or form. 17 or 18 maybe, if you count like years I did like double seasons, but I don't know. I'd need to probably count it, but one day I'll hit 20 because we'll find reasons to keep this going, won't we? And then eventually I'll really feel old. Should get some sort of like...
There was already talk of it.
I should get some sort of like... We should get like a long service award, me and you, because we've been here just way too long for our own good by this point. Someone make an award for us. We take league racing loyalties to another level. There's surely no commentary team that's going to roll as us. No way.
Not in league racing. I really don't think so.
Not a chance. Surely not.
We are... I hate to say it, Owen, we are just iconic. And
yes, yes.
But, I tell you what, that's a very good point. I think we might be, like, genuinely the longest. Now I'm really thinking about it. I'd love to count the amount of commentaries we've done together.
It'd be well over like 100. It was like 120 or something like that.
Well over. And the rest.
Because I know, well, to be fair, we've done a lot of JACKOCAR races, haven't we? It's just because I took so many races off between season 6 and like 9 that might really wreck the numbers. But then I did all the JACKOCAR ILR years, and technically, even though you weren't in the commentary box with me for ILR, you were giving me pre-race notes every week. So technically, that was still us two working together, really, wasn't it? So yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah. This is Cup Series race 175. There were 108 Kia races, so that makes this, of JACKOCAR, 283. I mean, I don't think we did any together in Kia. But
no.
175,
I'd say
no way we've missed.
I'd say around 120s are about
140.
Right. For me, anyway.
I'd say 140.
For me, 120s are about right, because I did miss a lot of races. because I was a
Yeah,
busy
but
man
you'd
at the
only have
start of my
missed-
uni. I would have missed.
You'd only have missed about 40 races or so.
That's what I'm saying. Well, maybe it's a bit more than 120s, maybe 130s. We'll count it one day properly. That's it's sort of surprising me that we've got stats for every driver, but we didn't bother to count us. That's just how humble we are.
I did it at like the end of season 3, and then I just deleted the graphic.
Nice.
Because I was like, I don't need that.
And here we are.
Yeah,
Here we
we no
are.
longer
Just what? 8 seasons later,
Reminiscing.
asking the question.
I love to see it. It's been a joy, and then we've still got this season to go, and who knows, however many more. But I promise you, this is the last season. That's what I keep telling everyone. But then every race we do on this game is like, oh yeah, we need to go back to that. That was such a good idea.
I know.
It's good fun.
Now, what I'm wondering is, are we going to see the safety car lights go out late this lap, or is Ben Harrett so far behind that we're going to get another lap of safety car? It's important, this, because if it does stay out, we'll be restarting on lap 18, which will be, and we'll be restarting this race on lap 18, which means we'll have basically a 2-lap dash to the pits. 1 lap to get the stage, another lap to get to the pits. That could be quite exciting.
Could be. I do wonder often, do the drivers ever actually care about the stage points? But then it's the stage points, the playoff points, that's what wins you championships at the end of the day, or gets you to a position to win a championship. For years and years, the playoff point was so underrated, and there was a handful of drivers, Pete Knighton, Khalifa, Ben Moore, that all worked out the system and realised the importance of a playoff point. And that's why they're all 3 of them so successful in this league. And those that disregarded the playoff point, they've struggled and not been as successful. So the stage points, they are important, but I do still, even to this day, wonder how much do they actually care about a single stage point on any random day.
They might care a bit more for this season's races because there's less playoff points about, aren't there? Because you get your points for the stages and for the podiums. And it wasn't initially podiums, but it was after the first round you decided. It was initially going to just be for the race winner. But you get one for pole, one for fastest lap, the 2 stages, and then the top 3. That's it now. You used to get some, for leading laps and all the rest of it. That's what Gareth used last season. As much as we took the mick out of it, it got him 4 points for leading laps in 4 different races in a row. But that tactic doesn't stick around. So there'll be some drivers definitely that do value them. And go on, tell me Pete Knighton's not sat there thinking about it. Tell me Ben Shaw's not thinking about it, where they're both sat right now.
I'm telling you now, it's lap 17. They're thinking, hang on, we're inside 10 laps to go. They're definitely thinking about it. And there's 2 of them, and there's 1 of Johannes.
I'm trying to remember. I think it's Jimmy Wright who Ben Shaw was stacking with in the pits before, if you remember. So that's not going to be a problem this time because they are currently 12 places apart. So that's also something Ben might think about. That might just give him that bit of confidence now. He's like, he knows he'll get into the pits and he'll have a clean pit stop. He's got 2 laps to get to the lead. He's got 1 lap to get a stage point. Pete will be thinking, come on, this has to be my day, surely. And Johannes will just be, it's another day in the office. He could have won all 3 races so far this season. Maybe he should have. He did cross the line first in Singapore, but he pitted a few laps too early. And in Bahrain, he lost the lead on the last lap. He's very quietly putting together an incredibly strong season, and it could get better as he comes through. He has got that duck off his back for the first win. He knows how to do his restarts. He's watched Corey Dalton conduct the last 2, and he liked the way it was done because he's following the same pattern of slowly crawling up to the start-finish line. It makes sense. It gives you a shorter chance for a guy behind you to have a slipstreaming past you into turn 1. And you're fully relying on them reacting after you, which you'd expect them to because you're the one making the restart. You're not reacting to anything in that stage. And so Pete, he's got a big job to do. He's not going to do it. That's why they wait so long for the restart. It's a really, really smart tactic. As we start lap 18, and might as well be lap 26. It's about as important for these guys as they come through. And Baz is very wide. He'll lose positions there to Arnold and possibly to Gareth as well. He'll keep ahead of Gareth, but Arnold up into the top 5 and straight into the wall. In fact, so's Baz, so's Gareth. They all followed each other into the wall. Extraordinary. Pete Knighton's only 3 tenths behind. the race leader in Johannes. Same for Ben Shaw on Pete Knighton. They've left MK Bourne behind, but behind him, there's cars with so much damage everywhere. And again, keeping his nose clean is Jake O'Sullivan. Really important this for him. He is getting himself back into play. Corey Dalton's getting himself back into play. After he put it in the wall a few laps ago, he's around outside and through into P8 only, but we'll see that move up. There's more front wings flying off as well. Possibly from Matt Lester, I want to say, or maybe it was another car ahead of him, possibly Yuri. Hard to tell, but there's bits of wing flying about. Jamie Wright is only down in 13th place. He's got some moves to make, and he's very much on the back of Dustin here. He's struggling through the castle section in P12. Bowser loses another position to Corey, and I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
But I don't think
exactly what I'm thinking.
I don't think there's any chance of it, surely, because the ERS, if there were DRS maybe, but ERS, is it enough? ERS and Slipstream? Let's see. Pete Knighton. He's not even closing in while using all of that. I think maybe Johannes just has better straight line speed. Now the Slipstream comes into play, but will Johannes remember not to pit? Actually, that's also important. He does, and yeah, I think Pete's realised it's not going to happen as we see Mike, who has broken his front wing. That's a shame, losing out to both Arnaud and who's that? Jake. I was worried that Arnaud was going to send up Corey. The inside. He didn't in the end. Corey coming through and nearly hitting the back of Arnaud as he passes Mike Kelterborn. He's on these soft compound tyres. He may extend his stint a little bit because he certainly has the pace at the moment. Mike just sitting back, nothing he can do. Bazza sticking it out with the damage as you would do. And yeah, just trying to look through the pack really to see how much has sort of changed. But I think everyone's waiting to pit until the end of this lap.
Yeah. Pete and Ben have done a fantastic job of staying with Johannes. You thought they would all, or he would walk away from them, and he hasn't. In fact, Pete is looking the best of the three at the minute. I don't know if Ben Shaw's just sat there and waiting for the inevitable, but Pete looks absolutely on it, and this is the best we've seen him drive since Season 2, before that crash in Canada.
I tell you what, he was a bit steady there through the castle section. He certainly could have given it a bit more pace. As look at this, Corey, he really is using these soft compound tyres to fantastic effect as he moves up into P4. The move on Arnaud, we didn't see it, but it was expected because of Arnaud's damage. Getting Jake on the exit of the castle section, that's just pure grip incarnate. But let's see if the top three are going to pit. I'm sort of expecting them all to come in, really. And I think Corey could take some serious advantage. Johannes is going to pit. Pete is going to pit. Ben Shaw, he's going to stay out. And Corey, he's also pitting. And look at that. That was Pete nearly passing Johannes coming into the pit lane entry. That was a bit opportunistic. I'm surprised Corey's pitted. I think he could have got one or two more laps out of those tyres. He was really enjoying them. I know, of course, on new tyres, you know, you'll have just as much grip. But, well, anyway, Johannes out of the pits ahead of Pete. There's going to be DRS, and Pete is going to have some. And I'd be surprised if he gets through straight away. I think it'd be maybe slightly unwise to go for it straight away. Oh, Jamie Wright's in the wall again. I think he's gone for a move on Mike O'Keke, who's gone into the wall himself. I don't think that was a related accident. I think Michael O'Keke was being overtaken. Jamie Wright hit the wall because he just went too hard. And then, yeah, O'Keke just spun out of sympathy. Oh, Jamie. It's happened again.
It has happened again, but I will reiterate, Rex Win 20 is coming. It's not today. Yellow flags fly.
Yeah, it's O'Keke.
This race is anybody's. It could be Ben Shaw, it could be Johannes, it could be Pete Knighton, Corey looking very fast. What does Arnaud do? Any which way this is going, more yellow flags fly for the damage further back down the track. Arnaud's come out in P9, but Pete Knighton is still sticking with Johannes Mellis. We're inside 7 laps to go.
It's a rear left puncture. That's why O'Keke is so slow and in fact stopped. He might get a black flag at the moment. He might be just letting everyone through, which is the right thing to do, I suppose, for fairness. But I'm more interested in the fact that Jimmy Wright is being caught very, very, very quickly after his accident, and that's really come at a bad time for Pete Knighton, because he was surely thinking, this is my chance, I'm going to get through. But no, Johannes gets DRS, the jammy little man. Probably shouldn't call him that, actually. It's quite rude. But down towards turn 1, Johannes survives. And Ben Harriet leads the race. Look how much Johannes is pushing turn 1. Fantastic. Now, out of turn 1, on board with Corey, who is behind Ben Shaw. So, staying at the extra lap for Ben. He's lost complete touch.
It's not what.
But he has stayed ahead of Corey, which I suppose he'll take. But it is all about...
It's a 3-second loss. That's it.
It is all about these net front 2. Ben Harriet, he could get caught by these guys by the end of the lap. 4-lap old tyres, he's losing a lot of pace. It depends where he gets caught, but it could very well be another cheap dose of DRS for Johannes, which he'll very much enjoy. Saying that, he's very slow, isn't he? I'm just going to check some allegiances here quickly, because I'm kind of wondering if it's a teammate here. It's not.
I don't know.
It's not a teammate.
Ben doesn't like Pete Knighton when it comes to JACKOCAR that way. That's all the allegiance you need to know, Owen. And,
no, it
Pete
is.
Knighton is currently chasing down.
This is Johannes'
win in the 165 races.
This is Johannes' teammate in front of him in Ben Harriet. So it's very much in Ben Harriet's interest to help his mate out here, and he's done so. Pete is not going to use ERS here. Maybe. Oh, he is now. I think he's decided a bit too late there because Johannes was already driving away from him. I mean, he's closing. He is closing, but I think Johannes is going to be fine with the DRS, isn't he? And the toe off his teammate. Who's going to stay out? I think we know how that's going to end, don't we? Saying that, Ben Harriet is defending. He's let him through, but that wasn't the easiest move, and Pete Knighton is not going to get through. That could be the race right there, and Pete knows it down the inside. Oh, he's put Ben Harriet in the wall.
Yeah.
And he's lost time.
Deserved. We don't want this race ruined. We're all team Knighton today.
I think that could be game over, perhaps. I think he might need Johannes to make a mistake from here, to be honest, as Corey is ahead of Ben Shaw elsewhere. So that is another podium on the cards for Corey. He's very much looking good for it as it stands, and he's catching Ben Harriet, who's got all this damage. Pete is still catching, but they're both low on ERS. Oh, into the wall goes Pete. Might have broke a bit of front wing there.
Damage.
Oh, he's pushing, isn't he? Matt Lester has gone off, just a spin. Although he might have been fighting with Jess, who hasn't got any damage. Yes, she does have damage. So that must be what's going on there. Look at this. Ben Harriet definitely was getting in their way a little bit there.
Johannes, no damage. But he's lost 3 tenths to Pete, and Pete's back in the DRS zone. Make that 4 tenths. Here we go, Owen. Dreams starting to come true.
Just going to say, Jake, thanks to the distractions there from Ben Harriet, he's almost in DRS of Corey and Ben Shaw, which will be interesting. We'll keep our eye on that. Both of these two at the front are out of ERS completely. So Johannes, he's not going to be caught at all, is he? It's all about holding your nerve at this stage. Here comes Ben Shaw. He's going to get through on Corey. And I think Jake actually might have had an accident. I don't think it was with Ben Harriet, because he was relatively close to the back of Corey, but he's been in the wall. Definitely has Jake. Through 19. But anyway, side by side, again, Corey inside of Ben Shaw, leaving him nearly no space. That was perfectly judged from Corey to move back up into third place, and this is a great scrap for the last remaining podium position. Mike Kelterborn, he's down the inside of Yuri. This is for P6. That's going to be contact. Very high positions these two are fighting for compared to what they're used to. Oh, and their front wing gone from Yuri, and that's a bit unfortunate. I mean, more sort of wheel-to-wheel contact, and it's just knocked a bit of front wing off Yuri there. I think he'll be feeling very aggrieved, and I'd be as well if that had happened to me. That is really, really poor. Top two, the fuel is going to become an issue again for Pete Knighton here. You can see he's just on the fringes of running out. You feel the move has to happen now, but it is going to happen, and that run through 15 is not going to help matters. 16, a little bit better, but he's short shifting as well. He's getting a bit flustered here, is Pete Knighton, I suspect, and you can't really blame him considering the position he finds himself in. But he could be managing this a little bit better, because I do think he's going to have to pump the brakes on this assault for the lead at some point soon. If he can't get the move, and even if he can get the move done, he could be a sitting duck towards the end thanks to the fuel. So 3 to go. Interesting to see what the tactic is going to be. No safety cars or anything like that are going to get in the way of what could be a wheel-to-wheel fight or what could be a procession. But you know Pete wants it. You can see it. He wants it.
I'm very quiet because I've become a spectator.
Fair enough. Well,
very much.
Fair enough.
Although
I don't blame you too much.
The end of lap 25.
We have got moves further down the field. Jess, we mentioned her front wing damage, so she's been overtaken by Robin. What a shame. Robin was up at the front earlier on, and he's finding himself back down. Pete, he's lost a lot of time in this middle sector, and so that's making his job even more difficult than it was. Trying to save VRS as well, but Johannes is doing the same. Feels like every tactic Pete has, Johannes is able to counter it. Corey's not able to shake off Ben Shaw though, and Ben, he has saved some ERS. He's using it here to stay close, and yeah, I think Pete, he's probably pushed it a bit too hard, so it's going to rely on perhaps a penalty. Let me just quickly check the race director for Johannes. I'd be very surprised if he's got anything. He's only got 1 warning. Pete, likewise, only has 1 warning, so I think he must have some damage, so I think he's given up on it. Or the fuel has come back to bite him. Either way, it needs something to go wrong for Johannes. I'd be very surprised if it does. Ben, you've got DRS. Why aren't you opening it? Unless the game's lying to me, but Ben Shaw had DRS and he's not opened it. Bit of a mistake there from him. As you watch Jake O'Sullivan catching the back of Baza. This is for P10 on the track. And Yuri's still in DRS of Yuri. Or Mike's
Jake's
still in
been a
DRS
bit
of Yuri.
absent, hasn't he, since his win at the start of the season, but here he goes in a P10. Baza does that wing damage as well, Owen. I don't know if you noticed that.
I do.
Baza never wanted to give up of his position easily.
Yeah.
And Gareth, after his shotgun start, still runs in P8.
Well, I think the most exciting fight on track at the minute will be the one for P6, just because of the fact that Yuri has got the front wing damage, and you'd expect that Yuri with the front wing damage, I don't know, I feel like maybe I'm not getting their names mixed up, but anyway, Yuri has the damage and Mike is the one chasing, and surely he'll have a run at this, either on the last lap or on the start of the last lap on the main straight. That did make sense. There's 2 chances, main straight and then again main straight. Pete still 1.8 back, still running pretty light on fuel. He'll have to watch this because he will end up running out if he's not careful.
You're not going to believe this, and it is somehow it happens every single week, and it's just like clockwork almost. But here we are in JACKOCAR in Baku, and we're not sponsored by Credit One Bank, but it is one to go in Azerbaijan. And I get that because for the culture. That's all I have. The race is over. Pete Knight is not going to win, and I'm miserable.
Look at Yuri doing a. He's either been weaving for fun, which I think he is, but yeah, he's just trying to flip Mike off, or he nearly hit the wall, one or the other. But this is the fight for P6. Gareth Hall is lurking. He's got the better tyres of the 3. He wants Mike to make some sort of attempt at a move here on this final lap, and well, that's not going to help. Into turn 2, he missed the apex by a country mile there, and that'll be Yuri with front wing damage. If he can hold on, which he looks like he might, that's a very, very strong P6. He wouldn't have got any higher as well without the damage. Arnold is just too far clear, so I think he'll very much be taking this result. Mike as well will take P7, and Gareth definitely will take P8, assuming Jamie Wright doesn't get involved. He's also catching these 3 quite quickly, and he should be quicker than me. He's just naturally quicker around this track. And I don't see any fighting really happening. They've actually all sort of petered out, really. I think they might have had enough of Baku for 1 week, as Johannes comes through the final braking zone. It's not the final corner, and we've seen a few drivers make a very big point of that, especially through here at turn 19. staying well clear of the walls, isn't he, Johannes? And he's going to become the first repeat winner, the first back-to-back winner of Season 11. And when we crosses the line, we're going to move straight to the 5 for 7, because looks like it's getting quite exciting. But here comes Johannes crossing the line to win here in Baku. P9 finishes P2, and Corey once again on the podium in P3. No, this 5 for P7. Gareth was 1/10 behind at one point, and there is a chance at a run towards the line. A big chance. Surely one of these guys is going to have a look. Or maybe they're going to run line astern. Oh, they might just be able to make it. Ah, it's disappointing. Very tantalising. Ben Shaw 4th, R9 5th. Oh, we've got a bit of an accident. Oh, I say a bit of an accident. That's 2 cars in Baza and Ben just flat out hitting the outside wall at 19. So a bit of a different order to what we were expecting, but we'll run through it again. So it's Johannes from Pete, Corey, Ben, R9, Yuri, Mike, Gareth, Jimmy Wright in P9. Another disappointing day. Same for Jake, but at least in the playoffs with his win in P10 there. And then we've got Lesty, good recovery to 11th. Dustin, a surprise 12th after the accident to Baza and Ben, and the same will be said for Robin, as long as he doesn't hit these 2 cars actually, but they're both despawned. And Jess as well, who'll move up. So they'll be 13th and 14th. Retirements, then we actually ended up with 6 of them in the end. So there's back down to earth for us with Baza, Ben, OKK, Leroy, Risky, and Florian, a lot of the rest. But it's Johannes, it's 2 wins in a row. Only by 2 seconds this time, so they've all caught him by 32 seconds. So good job this week, everybody.
Yeah, great job. Owen, yeah, you are Owen, aren't you?
I am, yes.
I can't help but feel awfully deflated about that. That's
Can't tell.
well done, Johannes. It's great, but yeah, no, very miserable.
Pete actually says it in the chat. What I'd pointed out earlier, it was the fuel. He had to save the fuel at the end. I worried it would come back to bite him. I hope the safety cars might have helped. I'm surprised they didn't. In fact, if we didn't have the safety cars, God knows where he would have finished, because if we were 2 safety cars and the virtuals and all the rest of it, or 3 safety cars, however many it was, and to still be nearly out of fuel by the end, yeah, that was a hard effort for P2 in the end. Which is where Pete is. Johannes wins, Pete in second, Corey third with the fastest lap. There is, we mentioned this earlier, a playoff point for that. He also picked one up on lap 8. I forget who picked up the other one, but I'm sure Jacko knows, or maybe he doesn't. Do you know?
Yep, lap 8, stage 1,
18.
fastest lap and podium. So 18 was Johannes.
Yeah, okay. I didn't remember. Ben Shaw was in 4th from pole. Maybe that's where he was expecting to finish, but the pole, I'm telling you, he still wasn't expecting that. R9, then Yuri, Mike, Gareth, Jimmy Wright, Jake, Lesty, Dustin, Robin, Jess, and then the retirements of Baza, Ben, OKK, Leroy, Risky, and Florian, who was the first retirement in his first race as a full-timer this season, which is a bit of a shame for him. Only ways up, though. Bit of positivity while Jacko silently cries into his microphone.
Sorry, no, I'm just reading the chat. If it wasn't for Pete's fuel issues, he actually would have won the race, which is heartbreaking. However, in true Top Gear style, we must move on. And Pete Knighton goes 166 races without victory in the Cup Series.
Good stuff.
That's all I have to say on that. He'll be back on Thursday in Silverstone.
Yes, round 5 in Silverstone. That's how you know it's a proper JACKOCAR season. The traditional round 5 slot is back. No more mucking about, because it did go a few seasons not in round 5. So yes, it's in its usual spot on a Thursday night. No silly gimmicks, or as well, we've sometimes done it as a 25% race with Monaco as another 25% race on the same night. We're not even doing that. They are back-to-backs, but we're not mucking about. We're doing full races this season. Just for those who even remember those days, when you might not remember, I won, I think, one of the last 2 times we did that in Singapore. It was the start of season 8. So yeah, that's one thankfully we put in the past.
You only won a 25% race, not even a proper one.
Yeah, that's why I kept coming back.
Very well.
Pathetic, isn't it?
I mean, I led one of those. I led the Silverstone race for like 7 laps when we did the back-to-back at Silverstone, which is just said next week. No, it's not next week. It's
It's
Thursday.
it's 2 days time.
Thursday. But yeah, it's crazy how fast they come.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's round 4, Owen. I'll let you wrap because
Yeah.
I've had enough of tonight. Pete
Ah.
Martin, what a boy.
Yes, and hopefully he'll return with more form in Silverstone, a track he's nearly won at in the past. Hopefully we see some jokers as well. Gareth Hall, looking at you, I don't know if he's going to do it there or not, but I want to see a joker chance because it's a very good track for jokers. So yeah, we'll discover what Silverstone has in store for us in 2 days' time. Thank you for watching, and we will see you very, very soon. Safe travels.